Hi out there. Well, yeah, I am really excited about this story. It's really funny. It's the funniest story about donuts that I've ever read. I don't think I've even read too many stories about donuts before. So we're going to get started right away on our donut story. And I am going to show you, change the camera to the tabletop so you can see all of the pictures. It's the funniest donut story I've ever read. Here we go. There it is. Arnie the Doughnut. Look at him. He's got two eyes and a mouth, and he looks pretty good to eat, I think. So let's get started. Arnie the Doughnut, cooked up by Laurie Keller. She wrote this story. Oh, there's the donut shop right there. Downtown bakery, home of the best donuts around, because lots of donuts are around. All right, here we go. Okay, so now I'm going to adjust it so you can see the full pages. Oh, look at that big bowl. Wow. There's a sack of flour and some sugar, all the things that go into making donuts, baking powder. And there's the baker over here stirring it up. Whoa, time to make the donuts. Here we go. There we go. Aha. Well, Arnie turned out to be just the kind of donut he'd hoped to be. Chocolate covered with bright colored candy sprinkles. Ooh, there he is. Chocolate frosting. Yum. He was made very early in the morning by the downtown bakery, home of the best donuts around. Round, Arnie, round. Arnie was proud to be one of the best. He knew that people all over town made special trips to his bakery to buy donuts of their very own. There we go. As Arnie sat on the tray, which he had just been placed on, he took a moment to reflect on the amazing things that had happened to him already, and it was early in the morning. First, he was cut into a ring. There he is. The ring donut's coming out. Then he was deep fried. And he said, I'm soaking in a boiling pot of grease and I love it. And then he was cooled, sitting in a chair with a cool drink. That's silly. And then he was iced. Oh, look at that. Who's that handsome donut? And then he was sprinkled. Oh, look. The sign says, caution, sprinkle area must wear goggles. There's the baker shaking sprinkles all over the donut. And then he was named. Oh, the lady at the desk passed out a name. He was named Arnie. Here he goes. Arnie looked around and saw all sorts of donuts sitting nearby. Oh, look, there's a cruller and a French twist. Whoa, and a powdered donut and a long john. Look how long it is. And a chocolate-covered zebra. Whoa, and a jelly-filled donut. Ew, his brains are oozing out. Can you see the jelly oozing out of that jelly donut? Some of the other donuts are pointing and saying, "Ooh, his brains are squeezing out." Whoa. So Arnie, he tried to strike up a conversation with an apple fritter on the next tray over, but she didn't seem to want to talk. And Arnie said, how about that deep fryer? Any relation to Larry Fritter? Want to count my sprinkles? But the fritter didn't answer. It's rather early. Maybe she's not a morning donut. Arnie supposed. Whoa. Oh, there's some more donuts. Iced chocolate, various muffins. Ooh, and eclair. Look at all those yummy donuts. Cream filled. Here we go. It was 6 a.m. and the baker had just hung the open sign on the window. Arnie was fascinated as he watched the customers stream into the bakery. One by one, the donuts were chosen and placed in paper bags, whisked away with their new owners, and some went by the dozens in giant boxes. Ooh, there's a giant box of donuts. Look at all of those people looking at the trays of donuts. Ooh. Goodbye, Arnie yelled to each donut. Have a great trip. This is so exciting. I wonder who will choose me. I don't know. I wonder who will choose Arnie. Whoops. There we go. Just then, Arnie looked up and saw a man looking right at him and pointing right at him. What? Said Arnie. Before he could say another word, he was pulled from his tray and placed in a paper bag of his very own. And the baker said, "Thank you, Mr. Bing. Have a nice day." And Arnie heard the baker say, "Enjoy your donut, Mr. Bing." And Mr. Bing, that's a fine name, Arnie decided. I can hardly wait to meet him. There he goes, placed in a paper bag. There's Mr. Bing taking him home. The ride to Mr. Bing's apartment was a little bumpy. Well, want to check out the pictures? There's this road. Mr. Bing's car is going down the road over the bumps, 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 bumps. And over here on the bumps, 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 bumps. And look at the car. And the paper bag is flying up and down on the seat. And Mr. Bing is also flying up and down on the seat. And Arnie was grateful for the soft napkin that the baker had placed in the bag underneath him. Well, maybe that cushioned some of the bumps. What do you think? Yeah. He had never ridden in a car before, and he wished he could look out the window and see all the sights. But more than anything, he wished he could meet Mr. Bing. Why does he keep me in this bag? Arnie wondered. More bumps, 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 bumps. Finally, the car came to a stop, and they were home. There's Mr. Bing's house. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, there he's sitting down. Oh, and there's Arnie on the plate. Oh boy. Mr. Bing carefully removed Arnie from his paper bag and placed him on a clean, shiny plate. What a handsome plate, Arnie said to himself. I'm not crazy about the design. I prefer a more modern look, but it's nothing that a little paint can't fix. Mr. Bing gently lifted Arnie from his new plate. There he is. He's gonna eat it. Isn't that cute? Thought Arnie as he closed his eyes and smiled. He wants to hold me. Whoa. Uh-oh. As Arnie relaxed in Mr. Bing's hand, he felt himself moving higher and higher and higher. And when he opened his eyes to see where he was going, he discovered, he discovered that he was headed straight for Mr. Bing's open mouth. Look at all those teeth. Oh, Arnie's worried now. Oh no. What are you doing? Arnie shouted. Oh no, he's gonna get eaten. What are you doing? Mr. Bing was stunned. He dropped Arnie back onto the plate. I was going to eat you, he replied in shock. Eat me, Arnie shrieked. His sprinkles were flying everywhere. Why would you do a thing like that? Do you make a habit of eating all of your house guests? No, of course not. So why then suddenly did it occur to you to eat me? Said Arnie. Well, because you're a donut. That's what donuts are for. To eat. Do you mean to tell me that you have done this before, Mr. Bing? Yes. I eat a donut every day, said Mr. Bing sheepishly. Oh no. Arnie froze. Oh, he felt sick. Oh, and frightened. I'd better get out of here before he tries to eat me again. And angry. Well, that explains my friends never writing or calling me. They've probably all been eaten. And he thought to himself for a moment, I must put a stop to this right away. I'll call the bakery and warn them and warn the others, whoever's left, that is. Arnie knew that there was no time to waste, and he needed to be very sneaky in order to keep his plan from Mr. Bing. He turned to Mr. Bing and said in his sweetest voice, "Excuse me, sir, but I don't believe we've been properly introduced. My name is Arnie." Hello, Arnie," Mr. Bing stammered. Mr. Bing, it's nice to eat you. Meet you. Mr. Bing, would you be a dear and allow me to use your telephone?" There's Arnie using the telephone. He asked so politely. Oh, well, okay," said Mr. Bing, and he handed Arnie the phone. Quickly as he could, Arnie dialed the number of the bakery. The baker answered the phone. "Downtown Bakery, home of the best." "Mr. Baker Man," Arnie frantically whispered, "this is Arnie the Doughnut. Do you remember me? You made me at 5:15 this morning, and I was bought about 20 minutes ago by a man who goes by the name of Mr. Bing." Yes, Arnie," the baker answered. "What can I do for you?" "Well, now, I don't want to alarm you, but just moments ago, the man tried to eat me. And not only that, he claims to have eaten hundreds of us, and I'm going to make a run for it, but I wanted to warn you so that if you see him coming again into the bakery, you can stop him." "Oh my, Arnie, I thought you understood. That's why I make donuts, for people to eat." "I can't believe it, Arnie." There's Arnie. "I can't believe it," Arnie gasped. "Are the other donuts aware of this arrangement?" "Well, I think so," said the baker. "Let me ask them, just to make sure." Oh, he's showing signs of donut shock. He's very shocked. And the baker yelled to the other donuts, "Do you donuts know that you're going to be eaten?" "Yes, we know," the donut shouted back. "We're delicious." People love us. Oh, yes, they know. "Did you hear that, Arnie?" said the baker. Arnie was crushed. The phone dropped from his hand, and he heard all that he needed to hear. Arnie forgot about his plan to escape, and he collapsed back onto his plate and glanced at Mr. Bing and muttered, "All right then, let's just get it over with. Go ahead and eat me." There's Mr. Bing looking at Arnie on the plate. Mr. Bing gazed down at Arnie. "I'm not going to eat you, Arnie," he said reassuringly. "I just wouldn't feel right about now." "Really?" said Arnie with a huge sigh of relief. "I'm glad to see that you've come to your senses. But since I'm not going to eat you," Mr. Bing continued, "I'll have to figure out something else to do with you. I pay good money for you, and I don't want to be wasteful." "Of course not," said Arnie. "What we need to do is each make a list of things I can do with you instead of eating you. Between the two of us, I know we can come up with something good." "Oh, good plan, Mr. Bing," said Arnie. "This will be a breeze. I bet I'm good at lots of stuff." They both feverishly wrote down their ideas, and when they were finished, Mr. Bing asked, "Would you like to read yours first, Arnie?" "Sure thing, Mr. Bing," Arnie answered. So there's a picture of both of them writing down their things to do with donuts besides eating them. Well, here's the list that Arnie came up with. Things Mr. Bing can do with me instead of eating me. So he said, "Hey, Mr. Bing, do you need a ballroom dance partner?" And Mr. Bing said, "No, I don't dance." And Arnie said, "Could you use a personal fitness trainer?" Oh, look, he's doing push-ups. I get too sweaty. "How about a portrait painter?" said Arnie. "Oh, heavens no," said Mr. Bing. "Would you like me to entertain at your parties?" said Arnie. Looks like Arnie's singing there. "Donuts make your brown eyes blue." Oh, Arnie's not a very good singer. No, I don't like throwing parties," said Mr. Bing. "Oh, how about I could be your chauffeur? Look out for that tree." "But you can't even see over the steering wheel, Arnie." That didn't work. "I'd make a good bodyguard," said Arnie. "Who could you protect me from?" said Mr. Bing. "A cookie?" "All righty, Mr. Bing, let's hear what you came up with." "Okie dokie," Mr. Bing replied. I know you'll just like some of these suggestions. Oh, let's see what Mr. Bing came up with. Things I can do with Arnie instead of eating him. I could use him for a pincushion. Oh, too painful, said Arnie. How about an how about an air freshener for my car? How about not, said Arnie. Would you like to be a picture frame? I don't imagine so. I need a new bowling ball. Don't look at me, said Arnie. A donut bowling ball. You'd make a fine paperweight, said Mr. Bing. Boring, said Arnie. Well, how about a doorstop, said Mr. Bing. Try again, said Arnie. But there was nothing else on Mr. Bing's list. They were both completely out of ideas. Arnie's list, Mr. Bing's list, they were out of ideas. No more ideas. Oh no. Uh-oh. Arnie and Mr. Bing were exhausted. They felt terribly disappointed. After a few minutes of awkward silence, Mr. Bing finally spoke. I'm so sorry, Arnie, but it's clear that we can't agree on anything for you to do around here. This is difficult for me to say, but I think it would be best if you found another home. I know, said Arnie, fighting back tears. It looks like he's crying. I'll just be on my way then. Is it all right if I keep this napkin to pack up some of my loose sprinkles? Oh, of course, said Mr. Bing sadly. As soon as I get a job, I'll pay you back the money that you spent on me. That's not necessary, Arnie. Arnie shook Mr. Bing's hand and thanked him for his kindness, and Mr. Bing opened the door, and Arnie left as he paused and said, I guess donuts really are only good for eating, aren't they? And they both waved goodbye, and Arnie was gone. Oh, look, there he goes. Mr. Bing stood at the window and watched as Arnie walked away. Walked past the flower beds and the mailboxes and the apartment manager's office, and he passed the tennis court and the swimming pool and the clubhouse. Remember how happy I was at the beginning of this story? Oh gosh, he's very sad to leave. Sometimes life feels like a big bonk on the head. A big bonk on the head. But when Arnie reached the no dogs allowed sign at the end of the driveway, Mr. Bing suddenly came up with a new idea. What? Arnie, wait up, yelled Mr. Bing as he ran after him. And Arnie turned back and stopped, and when Mr. Bing caught up with him, Mr. Bing was out of breath. I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier, Mr. Bing panted. Arnie, I've always wanted a dog, and I can never have one because dogs are not allowed here. See that sign? No dogs allowed. But it doesn't say no donuts allowed, and Arnie perked up when he realized what Mr. Bing was thinking. No, it doesn't say no donuts allowed. Arnie, would you like to take walks and play fetch? Mr. Bing asked excitedly. Oh, you bet I would. Can you do tricks like rolling over? Rolling over, look at me. I was made for rolling over. Well, then there's only one thing left to ask. Arnie, will you be my donut dog? A donut dog? What? Oh, Mr. Bing, I would love to be your donut dog. It's a wacky idea, but it just might work. From that moment on, Arnie and Mr. Bing were inseparable. Arnie liked being a donut dog even better than he liked being a donut. Oh, look what he gets to do. Get it, Arnie gets to chase a stick. He gets to go for a ride in the car. Whoa, he gets to go for a walk. Look, there's a donut on a leash. That's Arnie. That's funny. He went through a short phase of chewing on furniture and barking at the mailman, but after a crash course in obedience school, Arnie graduated first in his class. Oh, there he is, graduating first in his class from doggy obedience school. Everywhere the two of them went, people would stop to pet Arnie. No one had ever seen a donut dog before. And that's the end. Arnie and Mr. Bing had so much fun together. Arnie was the best pet Mr. Bing could ever have hoped for, and Mr. Bing was Arnie's best friend. And look at the sign in the window. It says, "Beware of dog," but they changed it to say, "Beware of donut." And that's the end of the story called Arnie the Doughnut. All right, I'm coming back to the FaceTime camera. Hope you like that story. It's really fun. It's the silliest donut story I ever liked and I ever read. So for our craft today, we're going to make a donut game. And the things that I have are just a piece of poster board. It could be white or any color. I just happen to have some green. And I have a big bowl for tracing the shape of my donut onto my piece of poster board. So if you have a smaller piece of poster board, you can use a smaller bowl. It'll work. And I have some buttons. These are going to be sprinkles. Sprinkles, sprinkles, sprinkles. We're going to use these buttons for sprinkles on our donut that we're going to make. And I have a glue stick somewhere. Yep, I have a glue stick, and I have scissors, and I have a smaller jar lid for tracing the donut hole. And I have some markers. So either I am going to draw some, color some frosting on my donut that I'm going to make, or if you have any construction paper scraps that you think would make a good frosting color for a donut, you could use that. And then I have a dice because we're going to play the donut game. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do is take my marker and put my bowl right in the middle of my piece of poster board, and I'm going to trace the circle. Okay, I think this one will do. So here we go, making a circle, making my biggest donut ever. Oops. And once I get that traced, we can cut it out. Do you have a poster board? Yeah, looks like you do. Good. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is my circle that I drew on there. I'm cutting it out. Going to make a great big Arnie the Doughnut game. So around I go, cutting out my poster board in the shape of a circle. It's going to be the yummiest donut ever. Okay, there's my donut circle. Okay, so now we're going to put a hole in it, just like donuts have. And that's where I'm going to use my smaller circle. It could be a glass, a cup, a jar lid, anything that you happen to have around. And so I'm going to back up here so you can see what I'm doing. And now I am going to take my marker and draw a donut hole by tracing my circle. Here we go. All right, so right in the center, tracing it around, donut hole. All right. Whoa, there it is. There's the donut hole. This is going to look like a really cool donut. Now, I'm cutting it out because I want it to look like a real donut. So the trick that I use to cut out something that's in the middle is wiggling the point of my scissors all the way through, and then making a little clip, and then cutting around to where I traced the hole. And I'm going to cut that out. And then I'm going to have a donut with the hole in it. All right. Cutting around. How's your donut coming out? I hope it's doing good. There you go. I've almost got my donut in my donut hole. You know, if this were a real donut, you could even eat the donut hole. There we go. Donut. Now this is, since we're making it a donut game, this is our game board. So now we can decorate it a little bit. So if you want to, you can pick out something that would make the frosting look yummy. I have an orange marker, so I'm going to kind of make frosting around my donut. But if you had a pink marker or a red marker or whatever kind of frosting, mine's going to be orange frosting. So that's what I'm doing right now. I am coloring my donut to make frosting. And it's going to be yummy, yummy orange frosting all around my donut. Now, another thing you could do if you wanted to is cut out another circle, like say if you had some really cool construction paper and you wanted to use construction paper frosting instead of marker coloring frosting. There, I frosted my yummy donut. But I'll show you how to do something with construction paper too. So I'm going to trace out my bowl again over in the corner with my marker, and then I'm just going to cut it a little smaller so it'll fit on my donut board. Okay. Okay, so I put some marks on here. It's going to be pink frosting, but I'm going to cut it a little smaller. So I'm going to cut to the inside of my line all around. Just, maybe an inch. And so it's a smaller circle. Let's see how it turned out. It doesn't matter if it's really exact, because when you frost something, you know, things go all around. So this needs a hole in it too, so it will fit in the donut board. So I could have orange frosting or pink frosting. So I'm going to put my pink down, and I put my donut over the middle, and I'm going to draw my donut hole. There, I've got a donut hole right there. And so again, I'm wiggling my scissor right through there. Cut out the donut hole. All around. Whoa! So you might already have yours frosted and you're waiting to figure out how to play the game. That's what we're going to do next, is figure out how to play the game, because, whoops, we've made a great cool looking donut board. So mine's going to be a double-sided donut. I've got orange frosting on one side, and on this side, I'm going to have pink frosting. So I put my pink frosting over that. A little glue stick around. Oops. Hey, come on, glue stick. You better work. All right, glue stick all around my donut, and putting my pink frosting on top. Okay, so there we go. So let's change the camera so you can see how to play the donut game. All right, so hold on a second. Tabletop camera, here we go. There we go. Okay, whoa. I have to move that over here, and my donut right there. And I get out my buttons, and I put them in the middle. I have about 10 of them. Actually, I have more. I just couldn't stop finding cool looking buttons. So I put my donuts in the middle, and then I have my dice. And I'm going to roll it. And it came up to be 2. Whoops, 2. All right, so now I pick out 2 button sprinkles. I pick out an orange one and a red one. All right, so now my donut has 2 sprinkles. So you can make up your own rules to the game. You could say, I get 10 shakes of the dice, or I get 3 shakes of the dice. We'll do 3 today because we don't have a whole lot of time. So I'm going to do another shake. Oh, this time I got 3. So I pick out 3 of my very favorite buttons. 1 sprinkle. Oh, here's a purple one. 2 sprinkles and 3 sprinkles. All right, so there we go. I'm going to shake the dice one more time. And 4. So I got 4. So I'm going to put 4 sprinkles on it. Ooh, there's 1, 2, purple, 3, 4. And you can play this with somebody else too. You can take turns, giving whoa, I just dropped my dice on the floor. You can take turns shaking the dice, and everybody puts the number of button sprinkles on the donut that shows on your dice. So there we go, the button sprinkle game. It's kind of fun to play. All right. Oh, and if you don't have buttons, you could use macaroni. You could use just anything that you had in your kitchen like that. That would work for sprinkles as well. So here we go. All right. So there's my button sprinkle game for Arnie the Doughnut. So I hope you enjoyed your story today. See you next time. Something I had never ever seen before. And here's where you get to make a choice. Was it a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex? And I'm just gonna stick some pie cones in my box, and then the fun starts. I just start rolling them around. Air rushing out of the balloon is going to push that balloon up. So let's see what happens. All right, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. So that's how rockets kind of work. We are going to build 2 different kinds of rockets today.